Hello friends, my name's James. And this is my 1965 Alberg 30 sloop, SV Tritea. I have been slowly sailing solo around the world since leaving Los Angeles in 2021. This is Rhonda, a Kiwi sailor who moved aboard full-time once I reached Sydney. Join us as we explore the east coast of Australia and see as many wild places and wild animals as possible.
Just down in here.
Oh, wow. As we make our way up to Southeast Asia. Slack the main. Damage. Five knots, it's a good, comfortable speed. Alright, if you retake the helm, we'll get the hydro vane going. I think we can pay out more headsail after that.
Yeah?
Were you on a course?
I'll let you know. It's kind of like, yeah,
right
we're
there.
fine. We're fine.
I just need to know which way the wind's blowing.
Go now. Go now.
You good?
Yeah.
Alright.
Ready?
Oh,
Ready
no.
to go?
Okay.
Yep.
Let it go.
That's
Oh,
it.
that boat's on the move.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what it looks like to get underway in an anchorage with like 30 knots of wind. Did pretty good, right? Pretty chill, no drama. Good experience.
Just knowing that there's like bombies and stuff around.
Yeah,
And
we
those
did,
rocks.
yeah, it was all fun though. It was chill.
Yeah, it was fine.
Now we have a 19 nautical mile passage today. It says 18 miles at this point. Now it's time for some more coffee and to just tend these sails.
Almost feels like it wants to hail.
Right.
Big rain.
But it's so warm, but...
It's very warm. Maybe I should be showering in this.
True.
Look at out there.
Rain squalls usually come in 3 different varieties. They either have the wind in front of them, the wind behind them, or no wind at all. This one seemed to like kill all the wind in the middle of it when the rain was happening, and now that it's passed, we're still kind of bobbing around. Not much wind. Maybe, I don't know, not even 10 knots of wind at the moment. But it should come back. So we had been pointing to go to the South Island of the Percy group, based on what the winds had been forecasted, which were southeasterlies. But the winds are actually almost entirely out of the east in real life versus forecast. It was impossible to know the true direction in that anchorage because we were getting the Venturi from the island. But now that we're out here, we can see that the winds are totally out of the east. So we have changed course for Middle Percy Island for West Bay. It should be very well protected. It's a notoriously rolly anchorage, so we'll see what the sea state's like in there. But it should be totally protected from the primary seas and the winds. So that's what we're doing. We have 14 miles to go until we reach West Bay on Middle Percy Island.
Oh yeah, I see it. Only just been able to come into.
But on AIS, they look really close together, where this dude's right next to us.
Yeah. I mean, they're rolling around a lot.
So we just got in the lee of the island, had to turn the motor on. We have a headwind. The winds have come way down anyway because we're behind the protection of the island. But we're 1.2 nautical miles from the anchorage. We can already see boats. So just ready to get tucked in. Another rain squall showed up right as we were approaching the island and ready to get the hook down. Where's our anchor? Tighten that up now. Tighten it up. All right. We got anchored, and I think we got a good spot. A little tricky, pretty tight, bunch of boats in here. Bit deeper than I thought it was gonna be, which is good, because then we could get in for more protection. We got our drogue out as our roll stabilizer, and now it's time for lunch. So we've only been here like an hour, and all the cruising guides said this was a very, very rolly anchorage. They were correct. This place is hellish at the moment. We even have our drogue out as a roll stabilizer, which makes life tolerable. I think without that, we probably would have already left. But we want to see the little Percy Island Yacht Club A-frame with all the boat names and stuff, so we're gonna spend at least one night here, but I don't see us spending 2 nights here. Hopefully it's just the turn of the tide right now. It is the turn of the tide, but hopefully this motion is because of that. Or hopefully some wind comes up to help pin us down, but you can see from the camera motion right now just how absurd it is here. Good morning from Middle Island, also known as Percy Island. West Bay. The sea's laid down after dark, thankfully. We had a very peaceful night on the hook last night. A little bit of motion at the tidal change, but nothing crazy like what we had when we got here. We were super bummed. And there's no good options close by, so it's not like we could have just moved. But thankfully it settled down, so we'll be able to spend another night here comfortably and check out the island a little bit. Still overcast. It's supposed to burn off. It's supposed to be sunny today. later. So we'll hope that works out. But we are happy to be here to the Percy group, one step closer to the Chamberlain Islands and the Whitsunday group and everything. So that's pretty exciting to be moving up, moving up, moving up. And we look forward to checking out Percy Island.
There's a sign that says, "Beware of the falling coconuts."
They'll knock you out.
He's like a hard hat.
They will knock you out.
How cool is this? Salty, sandy, and happy. Whoa. So cool.
Really cool.
What's his name? It's like crossing the line. So cool.
Really.
How long has it been here?
I don't know. They said there's signs since the 50s, is what it said online. But somebody else said they've only seen signs here as early as the 80s. So.
Right. Lots of caps. You
Mm-hmm.
need a hat.
And a trophy.
Trophy.
A trophy right here. This place is so cool. Really, really neat little thing for cruisers. Come put your little plaque up. We saw plaques as early as 1981. Saw a couple of our friends plaques, so that was fun. And just a really, really neat thing to have and to experience.
It's like an eclectic kind of collection of paraphernalia from fellow sailors. There's really cool.
Everything you can imagine. Super, super fun.
Really neat.
If you're ever cruising this area, make sure you stop by and check it out.
And they have a little store out back, so I picked up some honey.
How much was it? $10?
$10. Pure,
nice.
Unheated organic bush honey. Percy Island.
Percy Island. There you go. Nice. So in, I think it was 1955, the Hiscocks came here and anchored. They were the only boat here. This is when the White family, Canadian family, still lived on the island. And there was a little building that said telephone. This might be the original sign, who knows, might not be. But there, and I doubt that this is the original structure. It's pretty cool to be in the same spot as the Hiscocks, as we've been sailing in their wake through this zone. And pretty cool to see another bit of history. Right, here's where all the old ones are. Here's where all the old ones are. Here's where all the old signs are.
Oh, true. So like this is like where it started?
Yeah, this was like maybe the location of the original telephone house.
Auckland, Christchurch.
Yeah, there's a bunch of New Zealand ones over. A ton of New Zealand ones.
Cool.
This is where the original ones are.
77 from Picton. Shiloh. Have we seen that? Roswell family. Shiloh. That one.
67, Narwhal, Honolulu. How cool is that?
Whangarei. 77. Oh, that sign's awesome. 76. Pegray. Oh, those are cool.
So we decided after some discussion, we want to hang our little plaque that we made for Tritea and ourselves here in the telephone room as a nod to the Hiscocks. This is where they originally stepped up to, the old telephone like building that used to be here. And here's our plaque that we made. Pretty cool. So this is like, there's less signs in this room. We're not a big fan of crowds. So this room made the most sense. Also, like, the oldest signs are in here, so that means boats that are similar to Tritea. More closely resembles Tritea than maybe some of the boats in the other one. Just felt right, huh?
It really did. Yeah, it was a bit more fitting. And yeah, just feels a little bit more old school.
And didn't you see one that's from where you grew up?
Yeah. Howick.
Howick, that's where you're from.
Yeah, and it's like August 77, which is like, you know, a couple of months before I was born.
So
it's really
cool.
neat. Thelma and Ron Bell.
Awesome. So now we're gonna find our spot and let's get it hung up. Make sure we don't want to cover anybody else's sign, so there's no signs here. There we have it. So fun. So I want to read you this passage from Around the World in Wanderer 3 with Eric and Susan Hiscock. They sailed to this island, I believe the year they arrived was like 1955 or 1956. On their first circumnavigation, Wanderer 3 was a 30-foot boat, so I love to read about all their adventures. And here's what they said about this spot. From Great Keppel, we had a wild sail through a gray and windy day and a black and stormy night to Middle Island, Percy Group, where we arrived and anchored in a little bay where there was no coral. On the beach stood a shack with the word telephone painted on it in bold letters. Feeling a little mystified, for that island is at least 40 miles from the mainland, we landed to investigate. I took off the earpiece, wound the handle, and got an electric shock, for it was that sort of telephone. A man's voice answered. I said who I was, and the voice replied, "Delighted to meet you, Mr. Hiscock. I am one of the White brothers. We own this island and live on top of it with our sister. Why don't you and Mrs. Hiscock come up and have lunch with us?" Of course we went. 3 miles we trudged in the heat along a windy horse track through the jungle to a plateau of 800 feet up. There, where the air was cooled and the jungle did not encroach, the Whites, a Canadian family, and the only people on the island, had built their home and lived here for 33 years. They had 1,000 sheep, horses, bullocks, fowls, and apart from their flour, paraffin, and a few other needs, the light which the lighthouse tender on her trips up and down the coast would bring them regular intervals, they were self-supporting. We spent the day with them, Susan looking quite remarkable in her shorts, gay shirt, and wide-brimmed sun hat, riding one of the draught horses bareback. When we returned to the beach, we were laden with 2 sugar bags filled with pineapples, bananas, and limes. So that's pretty fun to read the Hiscock's version of being here, and then to be in this same spot and get to hang our plaque alongside where they rung the phone and got the shock and went up and met the Whites. Try to not get knocked out knocking this down. I climbed a shorter tree over there and it was hard to get off even with your hands, so this might be very difficult. Also, this pole might be too long for this one.
Nice, baby.
That is not easy.
The coconut collector. Hot work. On its own. And then I think one of those 3 that's in a line there. Yeah, there's not that one.
Oh, they all have stuff in one of these?
Yeah, one of those guys. Maybe like the first one?
This one?
No, the first one. Yep, that one. Yep.
Oh yeah, this one sounds cool.
Yeah. Nice work. You made it look a whole lot easier than
It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Others. Although those ones are probably almost ready to drop, right?
Well, that one fell as soon as I touched it, so it looked like I knew what I was doing, but I didn't.
Okay, James is going to show us how to open a coconut on a spike.
Try to not impale myself. Trying to not compromise the little drinking nut.
so pretty. It's such a crazy fiber, isn't it?
Yeah, makes perfect sense why. This is what the Polynesians made sails out of.
Crazy. So not only do you get coconut flesh and water, you get a fiber that you can make something out of. Zero waste, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's why there's massive, like, well, for there was copra farming taking place in Polynesia. Boy, this is
Beautiful.
stubborn.
Yeah, they're tricky.
So we got our
little
classic coconut. Looks like a monkey.
It does.
As Rhonda discovered, there's a white one. We're gonna show Rhonda will pop it open. Did you hear it pop?
That is the raddest thing. All right. Mmm.
Yeah,
Yum.
coconut mustache.
Yeah. It's like a milk mustache, but coconut.
Cheers. Okay, so we're walking to go check out the lagoon. There's this tidal lagoon that happens. Tide's coming up, so we're kind of racing the clock at the moment. But we want to peekaboo at it. People on Navionics dropped like anchor points in there. So I guess if you have a multi-hole, you could go in there technically and drop the hook. But we saw someone try to go in there yesterday and they turned around real quick.
Yeah, they chickened out.
And
It's
then-
pretty narrow.
Yeah, and then when we saw the tide come down, we saw what it looked like underwater. Super sketchy. I guess on king tide you could do it, but so yeah, let's go check it out.
Lots of those crabs. Look at them all.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Try it out. Where are we heading?
To the lagoon.
Tide's up.
It is.
You gonna check it out?
See what we can see.
See it in the dinghy instead of on foot? It's crazy how quick the tide came up and how deep it is. I can't see the bottom. This is where we were just walking. I don't even know, like an hour ago? An hour and a half ago? Crazy deep right now. But we just saw a catamaran negotiate the rocks and drive in real slow, so it'll be interesting to see how tight it really is on the dinghy. But they had a person on each of their forward bows, like pointing to not hit the rocks, and there's like little floats, like buoys. So, but it looks very tight. This is crazy.
This is sick.
Oh my god, look at this little boat. Really deep too, considering.
Very deep.
Look at that. Wow.
What a spot.
Bug Central. Oh,
Yeah, I can imagine there'd be a lot of bugs in there. Wow,
Yeah.
it's so clear, James.
very clear. Another thing to think about is we're in crocodile country now, so mangroves is where crocodiles hang out.
Ugh.
That's another thing to think about when you're doing mangrove exploration.
True, that's a spooky thought. Let's hope they like murky water.
So I could just hear this racket. I thought it was just birds, so James turned the engine off, and then he stood up and spotted a whole tree full of flying foxes. See if we can get you a shot.
They're like up in here. There's some over there as well.
Tree will be able to see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're good.
See them?
Yeah, I see them. They're huge. Oh, look at that one that's facing us.
I know. So cool.
One of the coolest things I've seen, I reckon. Like
Really
up there
neat.
on the nature front.
Yeah, really cool.
How many do you reckon there? Hundreds, eh?
Hundreds,
Like there must
yeah.
be
But
hundreds.
that one tree is completely full.
It's chocker.
It'll be cool tonight when they take flight. At sunset.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Coming out that that entranceway of the lagoon would look pretty cool. All of those bats going out. Be sick.
So crazy.
Back to exploring. Whoa, look at that.
This is a really neat spot, but since James mentioned the Crocs thing to me, I feel like a little edgy. So you really got to be
Real
careful, I
deal. We've been
suppose.
seeing signs since Gladstone.
Yeah, we have.
Serious business.
But there's a few other little dinghies up in here, having a little buzz around
There
as
was
well.
a dude
so-
swimming at that catamaran, like tying off the shoreline.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they're locals, so they probably
they know the drill. They know the deal.
Yeah, they know what's up. But you're not gonna catch me swimming in no mangroves. I'll tell you that.
It's very clear though, up here where we've been.
If you enjoy the content on this channel and would like to contribute, you can consider joining the Patreon crew. Thanks for watching. Fair winds until next time.